this 10-second countdown every time before the show starts. And we got 2 seconds and one. What is going on, y'all? It's AVIOT Sunday Brew. I know we're doing this in the evening this time. We try to do it in the mornings, but here is where we talk to you about different items, different things that are going on in the news, media, whether it be movies, sports, music, what have you. And this is an offshoot of the AVIOT podcast. So make sure to check that out on streaming services everywhere. That's AVIOT. Here we interact with fans, interact with people who want to join the live and talk about whatever. This is our time to interact with you all out there. We always appreciate the dialogue. We don't care for the trolls, but this is reality. That's how things are. Trolls are going to exist and they're going to make noise, try to be seen. I think that's kind of life in general. A lot of people, we're just trying to find our place and everyone's trying to be seen, have a voice, and feel that they matter in some way, right? You'll see people on social media, they'll be doing these trends, these challenges because they're trying to get likes, they're trying to get follows, they're trying to build community with people. People have different motivations, right? You have some people that are online engaging, creating material because they want to make money. You have some people that truly want to captivate an audience and truly want to make a difference. You have other people who they may feel alone. They may feel as though they don't have an outlet. And by sharing whatever ability or whatever talent they have with the world out there, that is something that makes them feel good. So everyone has a reason for being online. Everyone has a story. No story is more important than another. Certain works people do can have more of an impact than others, positive or negative, but no one's story is more important than another. Everyone has their own unique story. They have their own unique gifts. They have their own unique talents. And I didn't mean to get into that whole soliloquy, just speaking on that, on life in general. I say all that to say, I don't really have much to talk about in this podcast episode right here. I really don't. I haven't really been reading this weekend, been kind of busy. Yesterday, I was hanging out with my cousin. I haven't seen him in a long time. I actually hadn't seen him since I got married. And hey, what's going on? What's going on in the comment section? What's going on? But yeah, I hadn't seen my cousin since I got married. So we connected last night, hung out. And it's interesting because I came into a contact with this woman, a young woman, and she was a former athlete. And we were debating. Sometimes I don't know why I get into these spaces where I'm debating with people and the conversation. Sometimes I know I have no business being in these conversations, but I entertain it anyway. Maybe because I'm bored, maybe because I want to build community. Hey, how you doing, Beast Praiser? Hey, funny and insightful. What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, I'm just telling everybody out there, I don't really have much to go off of, so I'm just speaking about a conversation that I had last night with an individual, and I'll probably end by speaking on sports unless you all in the comment section have something that you would like to discuss. Hey, what's going on, Ghost Rides? But anyway, so I was debating with this young lady last night, and we were talking about women's basketball, specifically women's college basketball. Hey, Ghost Rides, what's going on? Hey, Mark Delaner, Sumpe, what's going on? What's going on? Hey, Kitchen Offender, what's up? What's up? Yeah, so I was just debating with this young lady, and we are talking about women's basketball, specifically women's college basketball. And I am from Connecticut originally, so I gotta big up my UConn Huskies. Yeah, the debate it was on teams. Funny and insightful. It was on teams. So teams in women's college basketball. So I'm from Connecticut, so I was digging up my UConn Huskies, and I was telling this young lady, I said, yeah, like we produce Hall of Fame players. And I was going down a list. I was saying we have Brianna Stewart, Maya Moore, Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird. And I'm just going bam, 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 just naming players. And she's like, yeah, but we produce people at the University of Maryland. And I'm sitting over there like, what big time players are coming out of the University of Maryland women's basketball? Like, I know you have players that have come out, right? More recently, you have Diamond Miller, who plays on the Minnesota Lynx. Like, she came out. And then obviously you have Alyssa Thomas, who is a great player. She's a future Hall of Famer, but she's like, yeah, well, and then so we went from there, and she takes the conversation, goes in another direction, and she says, well, just because someone is a Hall of Fame player, that doesn't mean that they are a better person than someone who isn't in the Hall of Fame. We get caught up on titles too much. And I'm sitting over here like, wait a second. I thought we were debating about which program produces the better players, the overall talent, right? Or the best talent that comes out of those programs. And she takes it into this whole philosophical, societal worldview thing. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Hi, everybody in the chat. What's going on? So she takes it to this philosophical worldview thing, and she's talking about, yeah, well, people that are Hall of Famers, Hall of Fame athletes, they're not better than people that that drive buses or people that do the other work and the other work in society. Yes, let me see. Funny and insightful. Unless both parties agree that Hall of Fame is about politics, not talent, it certainly carries some weight. I agree. Funny and insightful. You always have the right things to say. I agree. Because some of these Hall of Famers, yes, it is definitely about politics. I can only speak for the NBA, specifically the NBA, because real talk, no offense to some of y'all that like some of these players I'm about to name, but I gotta do it. What's the old boy that played on the Miami Heat? Chris Bosh. I don't think Chris Bosh deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't think, because Hall of Fame to me means that you are the top of the top. When you line up all the players throughout history in that sport, you belong with them. Chris Bosh to me did not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Let me see. Oh, thanks, MLBB God. Thank you for subbing to the channel. At what point did you decide that you wanted to become okay, whatever. All right. Y'all trolling in the comments right now. So let me get back to my main point. I don't think Chris Bosh deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. Chris Bosh, there is no world where Chris Bosh and Charles Barkley should be in the Hall of Fame together. In my opinion, that's where Funny and Insightful was talking about the politics aspect. Yes, the Hall of Fame can be a political thing. But I say that when it comes to women's basketball, wait, what'd you say, Funny and Insightful? If I were to geek out about Hall of Fame, do you know what's process selected? Like yeah, that's the thing. I think that's when politics come into play, right? The process, the criteria, I think they do look at stats. They look at what you did throughout the entirety of your basketball career. And when we're speaking about basketball specifically, we're talking about stats, the impact on your program, like did you win any championships, all the above. Like, for example, I know Tracy McGrady, he went to the Hall of Fame, right? And he in his speech was saying, I don't know why I deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, but I had to come to terms with I do deserve to be here. Tracy McGrady deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. When you look at, he did not win a championship. He never even got out of the first round of the playoffs. But his impact on basketball, the man, you remember when he was with the Houston Rockets and he hit like 13 points and he hit some, I don't know what it was. It was something in like 10 seconds. He hit a whole bunch of points or something like that. That game when it was the Houston Rockets versus the San Antonio Spurs, it's a famous game. All right, Funny and Insightful. Like, is it a numerical criteria or something more qualitative, cultural impact? Yeah, I think that when you're talking about Hall of Fame, I do think that accolades matter to a certain degree. And I do think that also cultural impact should come into play. So a Tracy McGrady, to me, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame because cultural impact. He also has records with the Orlando Magic. Like, the man was a great player overall. His career got cut short due to injuries, but I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. But someone like Chris Bosh, let's be honest, you won your 2 rings on a super team. And before then, I feel like his career trajectory was going up when he was playing with the Toronto Raptors. But then when he went to Miami Heat, things were a little bit different. So I just think he didn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Great player, but Hall of Fame worthy? No, I don't believe so. Going back to women's basketball, though, I think women's basketball, those who make the Hall of Fame for them, outside of probably the inaugural women's basketball class, I'm talking about like Rebecca Lobo, Lisa Leslie, all of them, like some of them is question marks. Rebecca Lobo, for example, she's a question mark to me. She made the Hall of Fame, but was she really that great of a player? She never even won a championship in her career, I don't think, right? And I don't know if Rebecca Lobo, I ain't putting her and Lisa Leslie in the same category. All right, Funny and Insightful. You said, for example, in the world of Ballon d'Or, highest award in the soccer world, the clubs have separate PR team, canvassing team that's working year round for their sportsmen to win the award. Okay, I see. So that's when you're talking about the political angle. Yeah. I mean, that's fair though. It's fair to say that politics do come into the Hall of Fame discussion, right? And I appreciate the comments regarding that. All right, Liberto, sorry. Hey man, good content. I like how you're advocating for media literacy, especially when it comes to adolescents and young adults. Yeah. Well, thank you for the first part. Yeah, media literacy is important. Just to go on a quick tangent, it is important for us to be able to recognize what we're consuming and to be able to decipher between good and bad messages. I actually read this book on media literacy. I think I have it. Is it down here? Yeah. So I recommend this book to anybody that's trying to get into media literacy right here. It's called The Media and Me. So you see all these bookmarks. I definitely covered a whole bunch of this right here. I actually gotta make some lessons based off of some of the concepts that I read about in this book right here. But it was talking about with media literacy, the point is we have to look at media, what messages are being shared with us, be able to decipher between good and bad messages, and we also have to create media ourselves. That's a part of being a person who is advocating for media literacy and trying to push that forward. We have to also make media. So that's part of this platform. We're talking about different subject matter out there, but we're also creating media on our own. Okay, funny and insightful. Oh, wait, hold up. I'll come back to you. So T. Sam Cho 1. Do you put Iverson on the same level as Curry? No, I don't put Iverson on the same level as Curry, but if we're talking about cultural impact, Iverson and Curry might be on the same level. Because here's the thing. Curry, in my opinion, as an overall player, is a better player than Iverson. Iverson's my favorite NBA player of all time, just to let y'all know. That's actually how I became a Sixers fan. Anybody who follows this platform knows I am a diehard Sixers fan, even though we're trash. Yes, Iverson, Godric, you saying what? You talking about Iverson? Or you talking about the Sixers? Yes. Stop the madness. What are you talking? Yes, Sixers. I love Iverson's story, where he came from. He was also born in Connecticut. So I was born in Connecticut. Iverson was born in Connecticut too. All right. So that's my dude. But what I would say in terms of cultural impact, I think that Iverson's cultural impact, think about it. He had the tattoos, he had the arm sleeves, he had the look, the braids, everything. I feel like after him, you see this change in how the NBA is operating. You see this change in how players are embracing who they are, where they come from, how they act. That's Iverson. Iverson's impact culturally in the NBA is huge. Then you go to Curry. Curry, through him, now you got everybody trying to shoot threes from the logo, all this three-point shooting. That's all Curry, right? I think it's hard to say which one had more of a cultural impact. So I look at them as more or less the same in terms of cultural impact. But if we're talking about better player, I'm going to say Curry's the better player. So I just want to build off of that, Liberto. You said, but how about the second part of the question? What are you talking? Since we're talking about big media, are you hesitant, maybe afraid of them? Wait, so hold up. I was talking to TSAM Cho 1 when we were talking about the Iverson. Sorry, I hopped from one person to another. Funny and insightful. I definitely am a nerd. I definitely am a nerd. I'm trying to do a better job of reading more books. I failed last year because I had a list, and my sister reads way more than I do. Tay, if you ever heard Sports Talk Radio with AVIOT, the woman speaking, that's my sister, Taylor. And she reads a lot, and her and I, we had this talk last year about how many books we wanted to read, and I failed. So this year, I definitely want to hit a higher number. My goal this year is I want to read at least 10 books. Because the thing is, I'm reading all the time. I'm reading like news articles you see right here. This is Yahoo News right here, and I just have this as a background just so you don't see a blank screen. But I'm reading all the time. I'm also reading scholarly papers. Right now I'm reading scholarly papers on social media and youth, talking about how the brain is wired when you're on social media to want to get certain rewards when you're younger. So the likes and the comments, that's a reward for them. And it might make them want to engage in more behaviors that could possibly be detrimental to their overall like future. And then also I'm connecting substance use and social media, how you have certain social media sites that are promoting marijuana, right? And they're promoting other substances. And how when you have youth online and they have access to this, how that can potentially be problematic, especially when we're talking about the opioid epidemic, when we're talking about substance use later on in life. So I don't mean to get all into that, but I'm just saying those are things that I'm looking at right now. So yes, I am definitely a nerd. All right, so Liberto, going back to you. You were saying the second part of the question. The second part of the question I cannot answer to, especially when we're talking about 9/11, and that's also a personal thing for me because I actually had a relative who was in one of those buildings. They did not pass. They ended up getting out. I'm just saying, like, 9/11 to me, that's a very traumatic thing. And I really feel for everyone that was affected during that time period. And still today, people are still affected by that today. And there were a lot of heroes that came out of that situation. I've seen a documentary on Netflix, and I can only see it once, where they were talking about 9/11. They broke it up into different parts, and they were talking about what went down that day. We had heroes, man, firefighters, cops, regular people in the street. A lot of heroes came out of that day, and it really showed when tragedy strikes, who's gonna really step up and do what needs to be done to protect everybody else. So that's that. Thank you, Funny Insightful, for that. Do I put Iverson on the same level as Curry, Haley, Blair? Like I said, the thing with Iverson is that I I look at him and Curry on the same level in terms of impact, cultural impact, and impact in the NBA. So TSA M Cho 1. Where do you go for scholarly papers? Which sites? So I do PubMed. I go to PubMed. You go to Sage, SAGE. PubMed is spelled PUBMED. So you go there, you go to NIH. So I like to look at peer-reviewed papers that were published within the past 5 years, because if you look at peer-reviewed, that means you have multiple people that were looking at these papers. So you know that it's not one person just writing based off of opinion, right? I actually have a paper that I'm trying to get published right now through my job that's speaking on sickle cell disease. I don't have any connection to it, but I was interested in the topic, so I decided to write about it and how people with sickle cell disease, what can be done to better treat them and to advocate for those who are truly in pain due to this condition. So that's what I do. And then also, you want to look at papers when you're looking at scholarly papers that are published within the past 5 years, because it's more current. You don't want to be looking at outdated data. So that's that. Marijuana is fantastic, so is LSD. Okay. PubMed. Google Scholar. Yeah, Google Scholar is cool. Just make sure that the paper is peer reviewed. That's Google Google Scholar is good. I've written quite a bit using Google Scholar as well. But going back into my conversation with that lady from last night. Yes, we went into this whole, so for those of you who are just joining, when I began this live right here, I was talking about, I got into a conversation with this lady last night, young lady at an event me and my cousin were at, and we were talking about female basketball players in college. And so then we get into this topic and we're debating over who had the better players, UConn or University of Maryland. I said that UConn does because more of their players go on to the Hall of Fame. They end up doing better things in the league. And then she went to say that, well, just because someone has a lot of fame or they go to the Hall of Fame, it doesn't mean they're better than any other person. And I was telling her, I'm like, well, that's not the point. I'm not saying that anyone's better than anybody else. I was just comparing in terms of career accomplishments. So that was my part there. Also, her father, I was speaking with her father there too at the event last night, and her father was saying how, a lot of people, because okay, so her father knows Angel Reese and his wife is Angel Reese's mother's sorority sister, so they're close, right? So we were talking about that, and I geeked out. I was like, "Yo, could I meet Angel Reese?" And he's like, "Yeah, I could do it, but I don't want you to like be a fanboy. I don't want you to be acting crazy." And I thought about that. I was like, what compelled me to ask him to say, "Hey, could you introduce me to Angel Reese?" And I think part of it, and I was telling him afterwards, part of it was that I want to speak life into people that I feel get a lot of unwarranted hate or unwarranted bad press. I feel like Angel Reese, she gets a lot of detractors, and it's only because she is a proud Black woman who is comfortable in herself. And I think that you have a lot of people that don't like that. When you have powerful people who are comfortable in themselves, depending on what their background is, they may get more pushback or they may get more praise. And so I okay, real quick, I'll answer this when I'll get back into it. Not entirely off topic. Do you come across debaters who constantly debate with opinion, bias, or fallacies? Do you even get people who talk to you on the same level that you speak? So I do get into quite a bit of debates. One of the things that I've been working on in life is learning how to let things go. I think that is a big part of growth, knowing when to stop trying to debate someone or stop trying to convince them of a point, because some people just won't get it, right? And when I was younger, I'll give you some insight into when I was younger. So when I was younger, I dealt with a lot of discrimination. And I was a young Black kid. I dealt with a lot of discrimination from teachers. I had one teacher that told me I wouldn't be anything growing up. I had people saying that I didn't know enough. So I made it my mission to become a better writer, to become more learned, to be more educated. And that's why I went and I tried to get the highest degree possible, right? I went to school, undergrad degree, done. Went master's degree, done. Then I went and got my doctorate, done, right? I go and get all of these credentials, and I become a certified health education specialist, right? I get all these credentials only for people who are very opinionated to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. So it gets very frustrating when you come across people like that, but I just learned how to let it go. Funny and insightful, when you're saying people that speak on my level in terms of maybe like education or what have you, I do surround myself with a lot of older individuals who have been through a lot, who teach at a high grade level, and those are people that I more or less get into more of the philosophical conversations with. It's better for me because it sharpens my sword, so to speak, and those are the areas I like to be in. It's hard. I have a hard time finding educated people that I can really have good conversations with and good debate, and where people are willing to admit they're wrong. Like me, I have no problem admitting where I'm wrong. I remember I put out some videos a couple of years ago, Black History Month videos, and I got some facts wrong because wherever I was looking at the information was wrong. So I made follow-up videos saying, hey, I was wrong about this. But I feel one of the hardest things for a lot of people to do nowadays is to admit when they're wrong and to admit where they need to improve upon. I know I have several areas I need to improve upon. I feel like I need to improve on my public speaking, my ability to recall facts, dates, names, all of that. I feel that I need to be better at constructing videos, because I want to go into later doing videos where I'm truly like teaching a lesson plan. I feel like I could do a better job at constructing videos that can teach a lesson plan and bringing it on home. So that's something that I really have to work on. All right. What's up? Chan, my condolences to your friend. My condolences. Thank you, TSA M Cho. Yeah, I try with my public speaking. I still think it has a lot of work to do. I still think I have a long way to go. The above question was in context of your debate yesterday with the young woman. Oh, yes. So funny and insightful. Yeah. So I keep getting sidetracked with that. Yeah. So, yeah, it was hard to talk to her, but I just let it go. I just let it go. Chan, your friend's name, Nick Gurr. Oh, really? 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 Man, listen. Y'all trolls are really something else. Y'all trolls are really something else. You know, I saw something today. I was listening to, there's a woman by the name of Olayemi Olorin, and I encourage you all to look into her. So she did an episode and she posted it on YouTube with a bunch of other intelligent people. And just a quick, what do you call it? A quick tangent. Intelligence doesn't necessarily mean you went to college, right? I went to college with a lot of people that aren't that intelligent, aren't that bright. So when I talk about intelligent people, I'm just saying people who are well-read, people who study and really try to improve upon their intellect. But Olayemi Olorin, she was speaking with her people on her platform, and she was saying that for some reason, racists, they just get off on causing marginalized groups pain and harm and seeing them suffer. So when you have people in the chat right here that want to troll and they want to spew racism, spew bigotry, you get off on that. I get it. I'm not going to feed into it. Going forward, I'm going to do a better job of just ignoring y'all because that's uncalled for. Going back to what I was talking about from last night. I caught myself when I was speaking to the young lady's father about wanting to meet Angel Reese. And I feel that she gets a lot of hate, and I just want to be a person to say, hey, listen, we see you out here, we see you doing great things, and I want to speak life into you, young black woman. I want to speak life into you. I know that you are great, you're doing great things, and I want to let you know that I encourage you as well. That's just me. I tend to empathize with people who are marginalized. I have a hard time looking at people who are, or observing people who are really going through something. I really do have a hard time. Anybody that's suffering in the world, anybody that's suffering in this country right here in the US where I'm located, I feel bad. And I try to do my part in order to help. So right now I have this platform where I try to educate people, I try to advocate for those who are marginalized, and that's my thing. Funny and insightful. I've read somewhere that the level of bias in people directly represents the IQ. Some hate appearance, some hate people, some just objectively process thoughts. Yeah, I can definitely hear that. I definitely can understand that. Yeah, I try not to. I'm at a point right now where I'm really about live and let live. The only time when I oppose something, if it infringes on somebody else's mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, and environmental well-being, all the parts of wellness. If something is causing harm to another individual on those levels, then to me, it's bad. So for example, you have some African countries that partake in genital mutilation of women, okay? It is a cultural practice. However, this cultural practice has resulted in a lot of women losing their lives. And that's where I believe it's wrong. Okay? Otherwise, I would say it's not my place to speak out against that because that's not my culture. But you're causing a lot of women to lose their lives. That is wrong. Another cultural practice. You have women that wear hijabs, right? You have Arab women, you have women of Muslim faith, they wear hijabs. And my thing is, it's not my place to say that these women are oppressed, that these women shouldn't be wearing hijabs. That is their culture. If they're fine with it, then that has nothing to do with me. If the woman wearing the hijab, if they do not want to wear hijab and they feel like they're being forced to wear a hijab, that's where it becomes a problem. But if they were born and raised and grew up in that culture and that's what they want to do, that's their prerogative. I can't say nothing about that. All right. Thank you, Peekaboo, for subscribing. I appreciate you. Funny and insightful. I guess your talk is taking tangents because it's organic. You are here to speak. That's why. Yeah. True. And look, we're already at a half an hour. Here I was thinking I wouldn't have anything to talk about, and all of y'all in the chat have done a great job of pushing the conversation forward. And this really warms my heart because this is literally part of why I put together this platform, to have conversations with people, to share thoughts, ideas, to build with other people. Like, I really want this to expand into something greater in the future. So this is where we are right now, and hopefully we can work. Maya, you said intelligence is subjective. Yes. Hold up. Yes, intelligence is subjective. No, I had to think about it because I always get mixed up with the subjective and objective. Yes, intelligence is subjective. Yes, because even with intellect, you can be intelligent in certain things. For example, right? Neil deGrasse Tyson. Neil deGrasse Tyson is considered very intelligent. He's good with astrophysics. I think that's what's called astrophysics. He's an astrophysicist, I think. However, I don't think he's intelligent when it comes to biblical ideology. I don't think he's intelligent when it comes to theology, because he has ideas about the Bible and all that stuff, and you can tell he hasn't read it. But he has a lot of ideas and opinions about it, but he has not read the Bible. I know that. I can understand people who are skeptical about the Bible, but my thing is, if you're skeptical about something, at least read it, right? Me personally, I wanted to see what the Quran was all about, because people talk about the Quran, people have negative things to say about it. So I went and bought a Quran. Totally different from what people say it's about. And that's how I learned. All right, let's go. TSAM Cho 1. I respect their hijab, but them and other countries imposing hijab on others is not acceptable. Yeah, like I said, yeah, when you impose things on people, it's not cool. All right. Funny and insightful. You say, we also have some class of people in Southeast Asia where women are married off to their uncles to ensure wealth concentrates in family. It's legal. But that's the thing though. When you're even talking about marrying within a family, that is actually not good in terms of biology, genetics, the health of the children that are produced, because these children could have mental health issues. They can grow with deformities. You're not supposed to mix blood. Like, that's too close. You're not supposed to do that. So that's actually not supposed to happen. And I'm against, children don't have a mind of, they're still processing, still trying to work things out. So I don't agree with children being paired off with older individuals. Maybe that's my Western thinking, but I don't think that's cool. I think that's a violation of their autonomy, their ability to choose. That's just me. Maya, you said prove your claims. Prove my claims in terms of what? What do you mean? What are you talking about? All right. Funny and insightful. It's often not the source, but the convergence of bias and the interpretation of the source that makes religious system radical. I agree 100%. 100%. A lot of times when it comes to religion, when it comes to the text, people are interpreting things a certain way. And because of how they interpret it, it becomes oppressive on a group of people. Here's a good example. You have religious folk that are against gay people. My thing is, the text that you're saying never said you personally should discriminate against gay people. It might have said God doesn't like it. Well, that's for God to decide, not for you. If you're taking that text and you're saying, well, we need to impose these laws that go against gay people, it's telling me you think you're a God. And I think that's problematic. I don't think that's cool. Live and let live. Like I said, I'm at a point in my life where I'm saying live and let live. All right. Yeah. TSAM Cho 1. Yeah, the offspring of individuals who are procreating that are closely related. Yes, they're going to have a weakened immune system. Like the blue bloods. You know the blue bloods from, the British family? Because a lot of them were dealing in incest, and it didn't end out well for a lot of them. All right, funny and insightful. Obviously, I'm not a biology expert, but marrying off to the mother's side is their practice, only mother's side, and they have very less amount of inbreeding, if not one. Look up All right, I'm gonna take a screenshot of that so I can look that up. You said it's called Dravidian culture. Dravidian culture. Okay, I'll look into that. I'll look into that. Thank you, funny and insightful. I appreciate that. Yeah. So listen, I really appreciated this conversation this evening. I thank y'all so much for driving the conversation forward, for your comments, for your questions. It really meant a great deal to me. And this is an awesome episode. Eventually, I'm going to get my co-host Jay Random back. I don't know where he's been. I mean, right now he's traveling with his family, but Jay Random's all over the place. Because it's supposed to be two of us. It's not supposed to be just me. But I enjoy these conversations. I think that a lot of times, hey, I've been knocking the ball at the park when it comes to like having conversations with y'all. Like, I don't know, I must be hitting a good time, but the dialogue is amazing. Yeah. Thank, thank you, funny and insightful. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I thank you very much. Thank you very much for helping with this conversation and providing such good insight in the comments. But with that being said, I'm going to close this stream out. What's brewing for me? Yeah, we end every stream by saying what's brewing for the week. So what's brewing for me this coming week right here is I am going to be going to a WNBA game. So I'm going to be making content based off of that. I'm seeing the Washington Mystics versus the Atlanta Dream. So that should be pretty fun. And look forward to that on this channel. All right, y'all. Make sure to subscribe, share this content with whoever you got to out there. And the live is getting more sensitive. What do you mean the live's getting more? I'm not over here crying. But all right. But thank you, funny and insightful. Yeah, but make sure to subscribe, share this channel with other people, and let's build community. Let's build community. Feel free to send me any topics that you want me to talk about, and I'll do the best in my ability to cover those. So till next time. All right, y'all. Peace.